mother was very young. She was mentally ill, and it was a period of time when, it's 30 years ago, when people didn't know the difference between paranoid schizophrenia or manic depression. They didn't know how to treat it. So she was kind of self-medicating with alcohol. This bond that's supposed to happen, because it keeps going back to relationships and bonding, she wasn't really able to show up as a mother. And as I understand it, your neurochemistry doesn't develop a certain way as an infant. And you need kind of jolts. So you're kind of being prepared to be a love addict in that way. And she was also, for me, the original love junkie. If you've looked at the book, there's that line, my mother cried over all the men in her life. And so clearly there was a depressive thing which has an effect on kids. Again, laying the groundwork. She wasn't really available, so I'd be reading fairy tales, which no doubt fed into romantic ideas of love, sacrifice, yearning, because you're yearning to have the original attachment. Then layer on top of that the father. Again, they were both young. It's not about blaming them. And in fact, that's been a big part of breaking out of this cycle. Is it's not anyone's, responsibility except your own. You're an adult at this point. Let's go. It's enough. You're not going to get the parental love that would have been ideal. We already had a mentally ill mother, which has its own drama in the house, and there was always chaos and drama, and her choices kept getting worse in men. Her next choice for a husband was someone who was very violent, who had maimed himself to get out of going to Vietnam. He was alcoholic, very abusive, controlling. So he ran out, and I'm glad my mother had enough presence of mind to take me, and we were off to New York and left that. And she was 7 months pregnant at the time. It's very, yeah. So interestingly, that aspect of the Dickensian, just these overblown incidents, which I didn't really think of that way when I was growing up, because you can't. That's the confusing thing too. You get so into your survivor mode and gallows humor. But the truth is, now when I look back, and this memoir was hugely informative for this, I realized that that was one of the spots. Like what did Wordsworth call it? Spots in time, that kind of flashpoints, where I experienced a fusion of fear and pleasure. And that, I think that violent experience and the abuse there really had something to do with informing some of my choices with ex-cons and various other unsavory but exciting seeming, smart, charming, but dangerous men later on.